Hey everyone, welcome to the program WRSA Radio. I am your host, Grenadier One. As always, I hope you are all having a good week. It's been a good one for me, I guess. The rain's letting up, and so is the heat, which is great. It was wonderful this morning when I was on my way out to go get my old man breakfast at my new favorite breakfast place in town. I love those little small greasy spoon kind of diners and where the locals eat and everyone knows each other. So I'm trying to work my way into one of those places to become more of a local myself. It's good stuff. But I was on my way home from dinner or from the diner, and I was thinking about some things and wondering what my topic would be for the show today. And I was milling around some ideas. And I just happened to slam headfirst into something that it was just obvious that I would use this for the show today. It was kind of one of those flash kind of idea things. So the show basically wrote itself today. But so here we go. Today I want to talk about a topic that you probably haven't talked about in a long time. You probably haven't heard about in a long time, but or if ever. But it's transhumanism. Now, don't confuse this with people who are unsure if they are the biological sex that they are or not. This is something different. Basically, transhumanism is the concept that humanity can move beyond just its basics. That is, it becomes more human than human, improved and enhanced and evolved. But doing so not with natural processes, but with technology, either through some kind of synergistic mesh with physical systems and hardware, or the utilization of technology to enact genetic changes or physical changes to our physical bodies. It's more than just, for example, joining human bodies with computers, but that tends to be the first example that will come up when the discussion happens. It's really kind of the current hurdle that science is working on. The scientists that are doing these things are working on. I know Elon Musk is really kind of driving towards this neural interface and whatnot. And we've already begun to see signs and examples of this happening in our society when we look at advancements made in replacing lost limbs and body parts with artificial ones. We actually have people who can control these replacement limbs with just their thoughts, which it's amazing, to be quite honest. It really is. And that's where, as it often is, we begin to approach the danger area. See, transhumanism is not just the technology or the idea of helping people and making people better, that can exist. That part right there exists totally independent of the philosophy and the philosophical drive that is the transhuman movement. The idea of helping people, of using technology for positive things, is great. It's good, but that's not the movement. Okay, technology, which we've often stated on this show, is a two-faced mistress, and she can help you and advance you and make your life and the lives of countless others better and happier. But she can also destroy you and crush you and all of your offspring and even end humanity as we know it. So it's always something that you have to be very careful with. And transhumanism on its surface is a movement to channel technology into useful and positive advancements. But the reality is that, like many other movements, it's been co-opted and subverted. And this is something that I want to be very clear about, and I want you to make sure that this is the main takeaway from this episode for you today. We are facing the single most insidious employment of technology in the history of the world. This puts everything before it to shame. We are not talking about just a weapon that can kill a bunch of people. We are talking about the enslavement of humanity forever. Nuclear weapons are often, thrown out there as sort of the ultimate two-edged technology where you have defense aspects of it, you have the nuclear power aspects of it, but just, the sheer destructive nature of the weapon can end humanity. Well, when you're dead, you don't have anything to worry about. When you're enslaved for your entire life, maybe even an extended lifetime with this type of technology, we're talking about you could be, a slave for hundreds of years. That's far more insidious than just being vaporized into a shadow, in my opinion. You may think differently, but anyway. For many people, the first exposure to this idea for them is the movie The Matrix, which was a groundbreaking film for its special effects, but also for the concept that humanity is living in a simulation, that our physical bodies exist in another world while our minds are occupying a virtual one, that we had to break out of this virtual existence and live in the actual real world. And it's a very powerful metaphor, very symbolic film, and it coined the term, taking the red pill, because only when the main character took the red pill did he emerge from that virtual world into his actual body. And people saw this film and they were just blown away by it. It was, like I said, it was groundbreaking. It was just the concepts of it itself were amazing. It was a time when many people began to actually question everything that was going on around them, and it spun off all kinds of things that we see as counter-establishment these days, so we can't overlook it and minimize how important this movie was. The thing is that people really just took the metaphor and just the symbolic message from the film, and they completely dismissed, the nature of the condition that the characters were in is just this sort of sci-fi aspect of the movie that really could never happen. We could never, there was no way that people would create a technology that could literally grow and harvest them like a crop while they were connected to this digital metaverse in their minds. That was, just artistic license and illustrative or allegory. It never really occurred to anyone that someone might actually try to do that for real. It never really occurred to anyone that even if they did manage to build something like that, how would they be able to convince people to enter it and get themselves trapped in there in the first place? Surely that would never happen. You could never convince people to do that. Well, friends, that is not the case. Now, I'm going to merge a few ideas from different sci-fi sources here and paint a truly horrifying picture for you. Do you remember a movie called Total Recall? Well, the movie itself is a fun, action adventure with Arnold as the main character, and it basically follows the source material in concept, but it's really a not very good adaptation of the work. The original story is from one of my favorite sci-fi writers, Philip K. Dick, and it's called We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. Now, we could do a whole show about Philip K. Dick and his works, and we could do a whole show just on this particular one. So I'm going to skip over all that for now and just focus on, one sort of key point in the story, and that is the idea that memories could be implanted in your mind by others. And in the story, we see those others can be, people trying to sell you an experience, but they can also be people using you for no good, and that's where we get this kind of merging in ideas of concepts here. We have a group of people who are pushing this transhumanist movement who have subverted it, and they're pushing it as a means to further their agenda. You know who these people are. These are the same people who are creating a world around us that is a total hell. We could list, on and on the things that we're all facing today and the breakdown of society at all levels. The internal stresses and conflicts that modern people go through, while I don't think they're totally unique, in history, I think people have gone through these kinds of things before, but I certainly believe that the volume is much higher. This is internal stress ramped up to 11. Okay, I think it's higher than anyone in human history has faced before. We're faced daily with a society on the brink of collapse, juxtaposed with a social drive to conform and continue to feed the things that are causing that collapse. We are making our own hell. Millions and millions of people are seeking to escape this, and they choose, countless ways to do that, and that causes further problems in our society. It's a very terminal velocity and terminal course of action that we're on here. These elites who are the cause of the collapse are creating this world to create the conditions that almost guarantee that most people will accept this offer of salvation that they are going to bring. They are building this virtual world where they can not only offer you an ongoing virtual experience where you can be anyone that you want to be, they are also building a world where they implant whatever memories that they want, whatever memories you want. You'll be either living in this virtual world, or even if you don't accept that, they can just simply make you forget who you are and implant a series of memories into you that makes you docile and content with the conditions that they've created. Maybe it's something that resets every day and you just forget about all the bad things going on. Or perhaps you willingly confine yourself to your small living pod because they've convinced you that the world outside is so dangerous and deadly that you can't leave for your own safety. And we already see this being done in much more low-tech ways. It's happening. It's been happening for years already. Imagine the power that a human mind-to-network interface will bring for those wishing to rule in this way. But people will line up to accept this. People going through things like PTSD and mental health issues, they will willingly allow this in order to make it stop. That pain is very real. And people promising to finally make it go away forever will be seen as miracle workers. Here, they'll replace all that trauma with different memories, or they'll make it go away forever. You'll forget all that. You just won't even remember that thing happened to you. People seeking affirmation and fame will have so many more outlets for that. They will agree to do whatever it takes to make that happen. They will willingly subjugate themselves and debase themselves just to fill that missing spot in them that modern society has hollowed out. And we already see this with minor e-celebrities and this just general degenerate behavior that they get themselves into, that normal people get themselves into and put out there for the world to see. They don't care that they're known for horrible and disgusting things as long as they're known. This is already happening. It's already happening with social media and YouTube and all of these things. People are already doing this. Imagine where it will be. People will willingly accept this to live out the life that they've always dreamed of. They shuffle through mundane existence lacking fulfillment and purpose, so they will replace that with artificial memories and experiences that reshape their life into something glamorous and grandiose, or just the life that they've dreamed of, even though it's not real. But reality itself will diminish, as the line between real and fake blurs to nothing. Even today, hundreds of people can join a virtual network and share an experience, whether that's some kind of game or whatever. Is that experience less real between them because it was digital? I mean, they all experienced it, right? Did they not share it and experience it together? Imagine that ramped up with full immersion and mind-to-network interface where you can't tell the difference between the graphics and reality. Is it real or is it Memorex? This is the greatest drug that has ever been created. It's the greatest escape from reality that we will ever know, and it will be in their hands. They will use it to control us and make us content and docile. No one will ever think about questioning them ever again. No one will ever think about changing the establishment ever again. If they do, they'll simply be erased. Their mind will be blanked. All their memories of that thought will be gone. They might even be unplugged from their network, and everyone who ever knew them will forget they existed. It'll be cancel culture to the extreme. It's every dystopian story we can imagine come to life. People talk about peak oil. I'm talking about peak slavery. And even people who you think would be resistors to this can be made to comply. Imagine any world that you wish to live in being made real for you. Maybe you want to live in the 1700s where you believe that you can be freer than any time in history. Maybe you want to be a patriot and a rebel and all that good stuff. Well, they can give that to you for $29.95 a month. And all you have to do is plug yourself into this machine. You can live in a world where Trump is always the president and Lee Greenwood is the vice president if you want. It's all there for you. People will lap that up. Now, when I was a young man, I watched movies like Blade Runner. I love that film. I read books by William Gibson, and I thought, this is what the future is going to be. This is what it will look like and how society will work. And I didn't think of resisting that and turning away from it because I just accepted it. It was almost inevitable. I said, this is how it's going to be. It was going to happen, and I just had to ride with it and accept it. I could thrive in it and enjoy it because it was inevitable. That's how young men think. You don't have the wisdom that comes with age and experience, and you look at that future and you never think of what's missing from it. You don't think about the spiritual nature of it and the assault and destruction on that part of you, how devolved it is and how devoid it is. Those are not the thoughts of a young man. Now, the future's turned out to be much less dark clouds in the sky and massive skyscrapers dominating the landscape, huge urban sprawl, but it's no less dark and debilitating. It's downright terrifying. And to achieve a moment of happiness, men will give up their souls. This world is truly evil and wicked, and we must do what we can to ensure that the technology that is coming is not used to enslave all of us. Now, that's all I got time for this week, guys. Like and subscribe. Come see us over on Gab and the Mothership, and I will see you on the next episode.